Most people spend their entire lives waiting for someone else to care about their dreams. They're waiting for their boss to notice their hard work. They're waiting for their family to support their ambitions. They're waiting for their friends to encourage their goals. They're waiting for society to validate their worth. And while they're waiting, precious years slip by like sand through an hourglass, and their dreams remain just that, dreams. But here's what I've learned after decades of studying success in human behavior. The people who achieve extraordinary things in life are the ones who stop waiting for permission, stop waiting for approval, and stop waiting for someone else to care about their success. They understand that self-reliance isn't just a nice concept, it's the foundation upon which all achievement is built. Think about it for a moment. When you wake up in the morning, who's thinking about your goals? When you go to bed at night, who's planning your tomorrow? When you face a challenge, who feels the weight of that challenge most deeply? The answer is you and only you. Your dreams keep you awake at night, not your neighbor's dreams. Your goals drive you forward, not your coworker's goals. Your success or failure will impact your life more than anyone else's life. This isn't selfishness, this is reality. And once you accept this reality, once you truly internalize it, you'll discover a power within yourself that you never knew existed. You'll stop looking over your shoulder for validation. You'll stop seeking approval from people who are too busy dealing with their own lives to fully invest in yours. You'll start making decisions based on your own values, your own vision, your own understanding of what's best for your future. Let me tell you about responsibility, because that's what this is really about. When you accept that nobody cares about your success as much as you do, you're accepting complete responsibility for your life. And responsibility is a beautiful thing. It's not a weight that holds you down, it's the wings that lift you up. When you're responsible, you're response-able. You have the ability to respond to whatever life throws at you. Most people run from responsibility. They want someone else to make their decisions, someone else to take the blame when things go wrong, someone else to fix their problems. But the successful person, the person who creates a life worth living, embraces responsibility with open arms. They understand that with great responsibility comes great power, the power to shape their own destiny. Now, let's talk about what happens when you truly focus on your own life. When you stop worrying about what others think, when you stop seeking constant validation, when you stop expecting others to be as invested in your dreams as you are, something magical happens. You develop what I call inner scorecard thinking. Instead of measuring your worth by external approval, you start measuring it by your own standards, by your own progress, by your own sense of purpose and fulfillment. This shift in thinking is revolutionary. It means you no longer have to play the exhausting game of trying to please everyone. You no longer have to twist yourself into knots trying to meet everyone else's expectations. You can focus all that energy, all that mental and emotional power on the one thing that truly matters, becoming the person you're capable of becoming and creating the life you truly want to live. But focusing on your own life doesn't mean becoming selfish or ignoring others. Quite the opposite, actually. When you take complete responsibility for your own success, your own happiness, your own growth, you become a better friend, a better family member, a better colleague, and a better member of society. You're no longer a drain on others, constantly seeking their validation and support. Instead, you become a source of strength, inspiration, and value. Think of it this way: you can't give what you don't have if you haven't developed yourself, if you haven't worked on your own character, your own skills, your own emotional and financial well-being. What do you have to offer others? But when you focus on your own development, when you build something meaningful with your life, you have so much more to give to the world around you. The person who has mastered themselves, who has taken complete responsibility for their own life, becomes a beacon of possibility for others. They show, through their example, what's possible when someone decides to stop making excuses and start making progress. They demonstrate that success isn't about luck or circumstances, it's about decisions, discipline, and dedication. Let me share with you what I've observed about highly successful people throughout my career. They all have one thing in common: they understand that their success is their responsibility and their responsibility alone. They don't blame their parents for their problems. They don't blame their education, their background, their circumstances, or their environment. They look in the mirror and say, if it's going to be, it's up to me. These individuals have developed what I call personal accountability. They keep score of their own progress. They set their own standards. They create their own motivation. They don't wait for Monday to start their diet. They don't wait for January to begin their exercise program. They don't wait for next year to start their business. And they don't wait for perfect conditions to pursue their dreams. They understand that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is now. This level of personal accountability transforms everything. It transforms how you wake up in the morning. Because you're not waiting for someone else to motivate you, you've developed self-motivation. It transforms how you approach challenges because you're not looking for someone else to solve your problems. You've developed problem-solving skills. It transforms how you view setbacks because you're not looking for someone else to blame. You're looking for lessons to learn and ways to improve. When you truly accept that nobody cares about your success as much as you do, you stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the architect of your destiny. You realize that every day is a new opportunity to make progress, to learn something new, to become a little bit better than you were yesterday. You understand that success isn't a destination you arrive at, it's a way of traveling through life. This philosophy extends to every area of your life. In your career, you stop waiting for your boss to recognize your potential and start demonstrating it through your work. You stop expecting promotions to be handed to you and start earning them through excellence. You stop complaining about your company and start adding so much value that you become indispensable. Or better yet, you develop the skills and confidence to create your own opportunities. In your relationships, you stop expecting others to make you happy and start bringing happiness to your relationships. You stop looking for the perfect partner and start becoming the kind of person who attracts quality people. You stop keeping score of what others do for you and start focusing on what you can do for others. You understand that the best way to have a good relationship is to be a good partner, friend, or family member. In your finances, you stop blaming the economy, your employer, or the government for your financial situation and start taking control of your money. You educate yourself about finance, you create budgets, you live below your means, you invest wisely, and you build wealth systematically. You understand that your bank account is a reflection of your financial decisions, not your financial circumstances. In your health, you stop making excuses about genetics, age, or busy schedules and start taking responsibility for your physical well-being. You exercise regularly, eat nutritiously, get adequate sleep, and manage stress effectively. You understand that your body is the vehicle that will carry you through life and you have a responsibility to maintain it properly. In your personal development, you stop waiting for someone else to invest in your growth and start investing in yourself. You read books, attend seminars, listen to educational programs, and surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow. You understand that the best investment you can make is in your own knowledge, skills, and character. This shift from external dependence to internal responsibility creates a profound sense of freedom. When you're not constantly seeking approval, validation, and support from others, when you're not making your happiness dependent on their actions and opinions, you become truly free. You're free to pursue your own vision of success. You're free to make decisions based on your own values. You're free to create the life that makes sense to you, not the life that makes sense to everyone else. But freedom comes with a price, and that price is responsibility. You can't have one without the other. You can't be free to create your own success without being responsible for your own failures. You can't be free to make your own decisions without being responsible for the consequences of those decisions. You can't be free to pursue your own dreams without being responsible for doing the work required to achieve them. Most people want the freedom but not the responsibility. They want to be free to complain about their circumstances without being responsible for changing them. They want to be free to dream big dreams without being responsible for taking the actions necessary to achieve them. They want to be free to expect success without being responsible for developing the skills, character, and work ethic that success requires. But the wise person understands that responsibility and freedom are two sides of the same coin. The more responsibility you accept for your own life, the more freedom you have to shape that life according to your own vision. The more you rely on yourself, the less you need to depend on others. The more you develop your own capabilities, the more options you have available to you. This brings us to another crucial point, the importance of developing your own philosophy of life. When nobody else cares about your success as much as you do, when you're taking complete responsibility for your own results, you need a clear philosophy to guide your decisions and actions. You need a set of principles that will help you navigate through the challenges and opportunities that life presents. Your philosophy becomes your compass. It helps you determine what's important and what's not. It helps you decide how to spend your time, your energy, and your resources. It helps you maintain consistency in your actions, even when emotions are running high or circumstances are difficult. It becomes the foundation upon which you build your life. A good philosophy begins with understanding the fundamental principles that govern success and failure, happiness and misery, progress and stagnation. These principles are not secrets, they're well known. They've been taught by wise men and women throughout history. The challenge isn't discovering these principles, the challenge is applying them consistently in your daily life. One of these fundamental principles is the principle of sowing and reaping. You reap what you sow more than you sow, and later than you sow. If you sow seeds of discipline, you'll reap the harvest of accomplishment. If you sow seeds of neglect, you'll reap the harvest of regret. If you sow seeds of kindness, you'll reap the harvest of friendship. If you sow seeds of wisdom, you'll reap the harvest of good judgment. This principle is operating in your life right now, whether you're aware of it or not. The results you're experiencing today are the harvest of seeds you planted months or years ago. The results you'll experience next year are being determined by the seeds you're planting today. Understanding this principle helps you take complete responsibility for your life because you realize that your current circumstances are largely the result of your past decisions and actions. Another fundamental principle is the principle of cause and effect. For every effect in your life, there's a specific cause or causes. Success is an effect. The causes are things like clear goals, consistent action, continuous learning, and persistent effort. Failure is also an effect. The causes might include lack of goals, inconsistent action, refusal to learn, and giving up too easily. When you understand this principle, you stop looking for luck and start looking for causes. You stop hoping for things to get better and start doing the things that make them better. You become scientific in your approach to success. You identify the causes that create the effects you want, and then you implement those causes in your own life. These principles work for everyone, everywhere, all the time. They don't care about your background, your education, your current circumstances, or your past failures. They only care about your application. They're waiting for you to discover them, understand them, and apply them. But here's the key. Nobody else is going to apply them for you. That's your responsibility and yours alone. This is why focusing on your own life is so crucial. You can't control other people's application of success principles, but you can control your own. You can't force others to develop discipline, but you can develop it yourself. You can't make others set goals, but you can set your own. You can't compel others to take action, but you can take action yourself. When you focus intensely on your own development, your own progress, your own application of success principles, you create momentum in your life. And momentum is a powerful force. It makes difficult things easier and impossible things possible. It turns struggle into strength and obstacles into opportunities. But momentum doesn't happen overnight. It's built through consistent daily actions, through doing the right things even when you don't feel like doing them, through maintaining your standards and when it would be easier to lower them. It's built through the accumulation of small victories, small improvements, small steps in the right direction. Most people underestimate the power of consistent daily action. They're looking for the big breakthrough, the dramatic change, the overnight success. But real success is built day by day, decision by decision, action by action. It's built through what I call the miracle of small improvements. If you improve just 1% each day, you'll be 37 times better at the end of the year. That's the power of consistency compounded over time. This is why it's so important to focus on your daily habits and routines. Your habits are the building blocks of your destiny. Show me your habits and I'll show you your future. If you want to change your future, you must change your habits. If you want to change your habits, you must change your daily routine. If you want to change your daily routine, you must change your thinking about what's important and what's not. The person who understands that nobody cares about their success as much as they do develops powerful daily habits. They don't wait for motivation, they rely on discipline. They don't wait for perfect conditions, they work with current conditions. They don't wait for permission, they give themselves permission. They don't wait for encouragement from others, they encourage themselves. These individuals understand that success is not about perfection, it's about progression. They don't expect to get everything right the first time, but they expect to learn from every experience. They don't expect to never fail, but they expect to never quit. They don't expect the journey to be easy, but they expect it to be worth it. This mindset creates resilience, which is perhaps the most important quality you can develop in life. Resilience is what allows you to bounce back from setbacks, to learn from failures, to adapt to changing circumstances, and to keep moving forward even when the path gets difficult. It's what separates those who eventually succeed from those who give up at the first sign of trouble. When you know that your success is your responsibility, when you're not depending on others to carry you through difficult times, you develop incredible inner strength. You learn to be your own source of motivation, your own source of encouragement, your own source of solutions. You become emotionally self-sufficient, which is one of the most valuable skills you can possess. Emotional self-sufficiency doesn't mean you don't value relationships or that you don't appreciate support from others. It means you don't require constant validation and approval to function effectively. It means your sense of worth comes from within, not from external sources. It means you can maintain your emotional equilibrium even when others are having a bad day, even when you face criticism, even when things don't go according to plan. This emotional strength becomes a magnet for success. People are drawn to individuals who are emotionally stable, self-reliant, and internally motivated. These qualities make you a valuable employee, a trusted friend, a respected leader, and an attractive partner. When you don't need others to fix your problems or validate your worth, you become someone others want to be around. But developing this level of self-reliance requires you to do something that most people find very difficult. You must become comfortable with being alone with yourself. You must learn to enjoy your own company, to be satisfied with your own thoughts, to find peace in solitude. This doesn't mean becoming antisocial. It means developing a strong relationship with the most important person in your life, yourself. When you're comfortable being alone, you make better decisions because you're not trying to impress anyone. You pursue goals that truly matter to you, not goals that look good to others. You develop authentic interests and genuine passions. You discover who you really are underneath all the roles you play and all the expectations others have placed on you. This self-discovery is crucial because you can't focus effectively on your life if you don't know who you are or what you truly want. Most people spend their entire lives being somebody else, somebody their parents wanted them to be, somebody their friends expect them to be, somebody society tells them they should be. But they never discover who they actually are or what they actually want from life. The process of self-discovery begins with honest self-evaluation. You must be willing to look at yourself objectively, to acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses, your talents and limitations, your achievements and failures. This isn't about being overly critical or harsh with yourself. It's about being honest and realistic so you can make informed decisions about your future. This honest self-evaluation extends to every area of your life. In your career, you must honestly assess your skills, interests, and potential. What are you naturally good at? What energizes you? What kind of work environment brings out your best? What level of challenge do you need to stay engaged? These are questions only you can answer, and the answers will guide your career decisions. In your relationships, you must honestly evaluate what kind of person you are and what kind of people complement your personality. What are your relationship strengths and weaknesses? What do you bring to a relationship? What do you need from a relationship? Understanding these things helps you build better relationships and avoid relationships that are destined to fail. In your finances, you must honestly assess your current situation and your financial habits. How much do you earn? How much do you spend? Where does your money go? What are your financial strengths and weaknesses? What financial knowledge do you need to acquire? This honest assessment is the starting point for taking control of your financial future. This process of honest self-evaluation can be uncomfortable because it requires you to confront realities you might prefer to ignore. But discomfort is often a sign that you're growing. The willingness to face uncomfortable truths about yourself is what separates those who continue to grow throughout their lives from those who remain stuck in patterns that don't serve them. Once you've completed this honest self-evaluation, you can begin to focus your energy on the areas that matter most. This is where the real power of focusing on your own life becomes apparent. Instead of spreading your energy across dozens of different priorities, trying to please everyone, trying to be everything to everybody, you can concentrate your efforts on the few things that will make the biggest difference in your life. This focused approach is essential because energy and attention are limited resources. You only have so many hours in a day, so much mental energy, so much emotional capacity. If you scatter these resources across too many different priorities, you'll make minimal progress in any area. But if you focus them on the areas that matter most, you can make dramatic progress. The key is learning to say no to the good so you can say yes to the best. Every yes to one thing is a no to something else. Every hour you spend on one activity is an hour you can't spend on another activity. Every dollar you spend on one thing is a dollar you can't spend on something else. Understanding this helps you make better choices about how to invest your time, energy, and resources. Most people never learn this skill. They say yes to everything and everyone. They attend every meeting, accept every invitation, pursue every opportunity that comes their way. They stay busy, but they don't make progress toward their most important goals. They work hard, but they don't work smart. They're active, but they're not productive. The person who understands that nobody cares about their success as much as they do learns to protect their time and energy fiercely. They understand that being busy is not the same as being productive. They know that activity is not the same as achievement. They realize that unless they control their schedule will control them. This requires developing what I call selective excellence. Instead of trying to be good at everything, you focus on being excellent at the few things that matter most. Instead of trying to please everyone, you focus on pleasing the people who matter most. Instead of trying to pursue every opportunity, you focus on pursuing the opportunities that align with your goals and values. Selective excellence requires clear priorities. You must know what matters most to you and be willing to organize your life around those priorities. This isn't always easy because other people may not understand or appreciate your choices. They may criticize you for not being available whenever they need you. They may question your decisions or try to pressure you into different choices. But this is where the principle nobody cares about your success as much as you do becomes liberating. When you truly understand this principle, you realize that you don't need everyone's approval for your choices. You don't need everyone to understand your priorities. You don't need everyone to support your decisions. You only need to be clear about what matters to you and have the courage to act on that clarity. This courage to act on your own convictions, even when others don't understand or approve, is what separates successful people from unsuccessful people. Successful people are willing to be misunderstood. They're willing to be criticized. They're willing to stand alone if necessary. They understand that the price of success often includes the disapproval of those who are not willing to pay the same price. But this doesn't mean being arrogant or dismissive of others' opinions. It means being confident in your own judgment while remaining open to feedback and different perspectives. It means being secure enough in your own convictions that you don't need constant validation while still being humble enough to admit when you're wrong and adjust course when necessary. This balance between confidence and humility, between self-reliance and openness to others, is crucial for long-term success. Confidence without humility becomes arrogance, which repels people and creates blind spots. Humility without confidence becomes weakness, which invites exploitation and prevents decisive action. But confidence combined with humility creates wisdom, which attracts people and leads to sound judgment. When you focus intensely on your own life and development, you naturally develop both confidence and humility. Confidence comes from knowing that you're taking responsibility for your own results and working consistently toward your goals. Humility comes from recognizing how much you still have to learn and how much room you have for improvement. This combination makes you incredibly attractive to others, even though you're not seeking their validation. People are drawn to individuals who are secure in themselves but not full of themselves, who are confident but not arrogant, who are self-reliant but not selfish. These qualities make you a natural leader, whether you're leading a team at work, leading your family, or simply leading by example in your community. Leadership at its core is about influence, and the most powerful form of influence is the example you set with your own life. When you take complete responsibility for your own success, when you focus intensely on your own development, when you live by high standards, even when no one is watching, you become a living demonstration of what's possible. This kind of leadership doesn't require title or position. It doesn't require permission from anyone else. It simply requires you to become the kind of person others want to follow, the kind of person others want to be around, the kind of person others want to emulate. And this happens naturally when you focus on becoming the best version of yourself. But becoming the best version of yourself is not a destination, it's a lifelong journey. It requires continuous learning, continuous growth, continuous improvement. It requires you to constantly challenge yourself, to step outside your comfort zone, to embrace new experiences and new knowledge. It requires you to remain curious about life and committed to growth until your very last day. This commitment to lifelong learning and growth is what keeps life interesting and meaningful. When you stop growing, you start dying. When you stop learning, you start stagnating. When you stop challenging yourself, you start settling for mediocrity. But when you maintain a commitment to continuous improvement, every day brings new possibilities. The person who truly understands that nobody cares about their success as much as they do develops an insatiable appetite for knowledge and growth. They read books, attend seminars, listen to educational programs, seek out mentors, and learn from every experience. They understand that in a rapidly changing world, the ability to learn quickly and adapt effectively is perhaps the most valuable skill you can possess. This commitment to learning extends beyond formal education or professional development. It includes learning about yourself, learning about relationships, learning about life. It includes developing emotional intelligence, social skills, and wisdom. It includes learning from your successes and your failures, your joys and your sorrows, your victories and your defeats. Every experience becomes a teacher when you approach life with a learning mindset. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to develop strength and resilience. Every setback becomes a chance to learn and improve. Every success becomes a foundation for greater achievements. This perspective transforms your relationship with life itself. Instead of seeing life as something that happens to you, you begin to see it as something you actively participate in creating. Instead of being a victim of circumstances, you become the architect of your destiny. Instead of reacting to events, you begin to influence and shape events. This shift in perspective is profound and powerful. When you truly accept responsibility for your own life and focus intensely on your own development, you discover that you have far more control over your circumstances than you previously realized. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond to everything that happens to you. And your response is what determines your results. This brings us to one of the most important skills you can develop, the ability to choose your response to any situation. Between every stimulus and response, there's a space, and in that space lies your freedom to choose. This freedom to choose your response is perhaps the most fundamental human freedom, and it's available to you regardless of your circumstances. Most people react automatically to situations. Someone criticizes them, they get defensive. Something doesn't go their way, they get frustrated. They face a challenge, they get discouraged. But the person who has taken complete responsibility for their life learns to pause between stimulus and response and choose their reaction consciously. This ability to choose your response gives you incredible power over your life experience. You can choose to respond to criticism with curiosity instead of defensiveness. You can choose to respond to setbacks with determination instead of discouragement. You can choose to respond to challenges with excitement instead of anxiety. These choices shape your character and determine your destiny. Developing this skill requires practice and awareness. You must become conscious of your automatic reactions and deliberately choose more empowering responses. This isn't about suppressing your emotions or pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's about managing your emotions intelligently and responding in ways that serve your long-term interests. This emotional management is crucial because your emotions drive your actions, and your actions create your results. If you can't manage your emotions effectively, you can't manage your life effectively. If you're constantly reacting emotionally to circumstances, you're not really in control of your life. Your emotions are. The person who focuses intensely on their own development learns to become the master of their emotions rather than their slave. They understand that emotions are important signals that provide valuable information, but they don't let emotions make their decisions for them. They feel their emotions fully, learn from them, and then choose their actions based on their values and goals, not just their feelings. This emotional mastery becomes a tremendous competitive advantage in every area of life. In your career, it allows you to remain calm under pressure, make rational decisions even in stressful situations, and maintain professional relationships even when things get difficult. In your personal relationships, it allows you to respond with love instead of anger, with understanding instead of judgment, with patience instead of frustration. But perhaps most importantly, emotional mastery allows you to maintain consistent progress toward your goals, even when you don't feel motivated. Motivation is wonderful when you have it, but it's unreliable. It comes and goes based on circumstances, moods, and external events. Discipline, on the other hand, is reliable. It's based on commitment, not feelings. It's what keeps you moving forward even when motivation fails you. The person who truly understands that their success is their responsibility develops strong discipline. They do what needs to be done whether they feel like it or not. They maintain their standards whether it's convenient or not. They stick to their commitments whether it's easy or not. This discipline becomes the bridge between their goals and their achievements. Discipline is not about being harsh with yourself or denying yourself pleasure. It's about doing what you said you would do when you said you would do it, whether you feel like it or not. It's about keeping promises to yourself with the same integrity you keep promises to others. It's about being reliable to yourself in the same way you want others to be reliable to you. This self-reliability builds tremendous self-confidence and self-respect. When you consistently do what you say you're going to do, you begin to trust yourself. When you trust yourself, you're willing to set bigger goals and take on greater challenges. When you take on greater challenges and achieve them, you build even more confidence and self-respect. This creates a positive cycle that continuously elevates your life. But discipline alone is not enough. You also need wisdom to guide your discipline efforts in the right direction. Wisdom is the ability to make good judgments and decisions based on knowledge, experience, and understanding. It's what helps you distinguish between what's important and what's urgent, between what's good and what's best, between what's possible and what's practical. Wisdom comes from multiple sources: education, experience, observation, and reflection. It comes from studying the lives and teachings of wise people throughout history. It comes from learning from your own mistakes and successes. It comes from carefully observing the consequences of different choices and behaviors. It comes from taking time to reflect on your experiences and extract the lessons they contain. The pursuit of wisdom should be a lifelong endeavor. The more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know. The more experience you gain, the more you appreciate the complexity of life. The more you understand, the more humble you become about your understanding. This humility keeps you open to new learning and continued growth. When you combine discipline with wisdom, when you couple consistent action with sound judgment, you create a powerful force for positive change in your life. You make steady progress toward meaningful goals. You avoid many of the pitfalls that trap others. You create value for yourself and others. You build a life of significance and satisfaction. This is what it means to truly focus on your own life. It's not about being selfish or ignoring others. It's about taking complete responsibility for becoming the best version of yourself, for creating the life you truly want to live, for making your unique contribution to the world. It's about understanding that your life is your responsibility and your opportunity. Nobody else can live your life for you. Nobody else can make your decisions for you. Nobody else can create your success for you. Nobody else can find your happiness for you. These are your responsibilities, and they're also your greatest opportunities. They're what make life exciting, challenging, and ultimately meaningful. So embrace the truth that nobody cares about your success as much as you do. Let it liberate you from the need for constant approval and validation. Let it motivate you to take complete responsibility for your life. Let it inspire you to focus intensely on your own development and growth. Let it guide you toward becoming the person you're capable of becoming and creating the life you're capable of living. Remember, success is not about perfection. It's about progression. It's not about having all the answers. It's about asking better questions. It's not about avoiding all mistakes. It's about learning from every experience. It's not about impressing others. It's about improving yourself. Your life is waiting for you to take charge of it. Your dreams are waiting for you to pursue them. Your potential is waiting for you to develop it. Your future is waiting for you to create it. Nobody else can do these things for you, and that's exactly as it should be. Because when you do them for yourself, when you take complete responsibility for your own life, you discover a power and freedom that nothing else can provide. This is your time. This is your opportunity. This is your life. Focus on it with everything you have and watch as it transforms into something beautiful, meaningful, and uniquely yours.